Welcome back to The Acceptance Project, where we explore stories and ideas that help us bridge understanding, build resilience, and create a kinder world. I'm your host, Bryan, and today in this bonus episode, we're celebrating World Kindness Day. World Kindness Day on November 13th is an international observance dedicated to promoting goodwill, empathy, and acts of kindness. It was introduced in 1998 by the World Kindness Movement to highlight the common thread of kindness that binds people together to encourage both large and small acts of compassion. The day serves as a reminder to prioritize compassion and to encourage people to go beyond their routines to make a positive difference in the lives of others. People celebrate by performing random acts of kindness, sending messages of appreciation, volunteering, donating, or simply offering a kind word or a hug. It is observed in many countries around the world, and participation has grown since its inception. World Kindness Day isn't just another date on the calendar. It's an invitation, a global reminder that kindness is a language everyone understands. Whether it's a smile, a word, or an act of compassion, kindness has the power to change lives, one moment at a time. Okay, for my science friends, this is where it gets interesting. Science has a lot to say about kindness. Studies show that regular acts of kindness improve our overall well-being, reduces stress, and even lowers blood pressure. Being kind isn't just good for others, it's good for us. Neuroscientists have found when we help someone else, the same areas of our brain activate as when we experience pleasure. It's called the helper's high. The helper's high is a term psychologists and neuroscientists use to describe the positive emotional state we feel after doing something kind or generous for someone else. It's that warm, almost euphoric feeling you get when you help a stranger, volunteer your time, or simply make someone smile. It's not your imagination, it's chemistry. When you perform an act of kindness, your brain releases a mix of feel-good neurotransmitters, including dopamine, which is the reward chemical that gives you a sense of pleasure and motivation, serotonin, which is the mood stabilizer that helps reduce stress and increase happiness, and of course, oxytocin, often called the love hormone. It strengthens feelings of connection and trust between people. Together, these chemicals create a natural emotional high. Researchers first identified the phenomenon in the 1980s when volunteers reported feeling calmer, more energetic, and even euphoric after helping others. And here's what's fascinating. The effects aren't just emotional. Studies show that acts of kindness can lower your blood pressure and reduce cortisol, which is the stress hormone. It can boost immune function, increase lifespan, and overall well-being. So when we say kindness is good for you, it's literally true. Your brain and body reward you for doing good. And just like physical exercise strengthens the body, kindness strengthens the mind. The more you practice helping others, the more you activate the neural pathways linked to joy, empathy, and compassion. That's the helper's high, nature's way of reminding us that we're wired for connection. So when you lift someone else, you rise too. Okay, now we're done with the science mumbo jumbo, so back to our regular programming. Kindness isn't just something we do, it's something we are. But here's the truth, kindness isn't always easy. It asks us to look beyond ourselves, even when we're tired, frustrated, or hurting. Kindness can't fix everything, but it can open a door, even in the darkest places. And here's what psychology tells us. Kindness is contagious. It not only boosts our mood, but also makes us more likely to pay that kindness forward. It creates what researchers call the ripple effect. Imagine what the world would look like if every one of us created just one more ripple today. So how can we do that? How can we use the psychology of the ripple effect to pay it forward? Start small, but at least start. The most powerful ripples begin with the smallest actions. Buy coffee for the person behind you. Hold the door for someone rushing in. Send a quick message to say, "Hey, I'm thinking of you." These little things might feel insignificant, but science shows that each act of kindness triggers a chain reaction. Someone will likely pass it on. Make kindness visible. Kindness spreads faster when people see it. Share your positive actions, not for attention, but to inspire others. Post about volunteering. Thank someone publicly or celebrate a friend's kindness online. When kindness becomes visible, it becomes contagious. Be intentional. On World Kindness Day, choose one specific kindness goal. Maybe it's writing a note of gratitude to a teacher, reaching out to an old friend, or donating to a cause that matters to you. Focused kindness creates stronger ripples because it comes from a place of purpose. Next thing, pass it forward. If someone does something kind for you, don't stop the ripple. Pass it on. Compliment someone else. Offer your time. Help another person. Each time you pay it forward, you keep the wave of goodness moving. And last, but certainly not least, practice kindness where it's hardest. The truest form of kindness often shows up in the hardest places, toward the person who hurt you, the coworker who frustrates you, or even toward yourself when you feel undeserving. The ripples created by forgiveness and compassion are the ones that change the tide. Let me tell you about someone named Daniel. Daniel wasn't the kind of man who stood in the spotlight. He was the quiet high school custodian who moved through the hallways long after the last bell rang, sweeping up wrappers, mopping footprints from rainy days, and whistling softly to himself. Most people barely noticed him, but Daniel noticed everyone. Every morning, before the first teacher arrived, he'd leave a handwritten note on the table in the teacher's lounge. Just a simple slip of paper with a message like, "Make today better than yesterday," "Someone out there believes in you," or "You make more of a difference than you realize." No one knew who wrote them. Some thought it was a teacher, others a counselor, but those little notes started to matter. Teachers began collecting them, taping them to computer screens, or slipping them into planners for rough days. Then something more happened. Kindness started to spread. One teacher snapped a photo of the note and posted it on social media. Within hours, people across town were commenting, "We need notes like this at our school." Students caught wind of it too and began leaving their own notes around campus. "You're not alone. Keep trying. You're doing great. Hey, you matter." Soon the school's walls were covered with words of hope. The ripple had begun. For months, no one knew the mystery writer behind it all. Daniel never said a word. He just kept showing up, quietly and faithfully, with his broom in one hand and kindness in the other. Then came the day of his retirement. The gym was packed. Teachers, students, parents, even former graduates filled the bleachers. On the big screen behind the stage, photos flashed of all those little notes that had brightened their days. And when Daniel walked in, the crowd stood and cheered. Tears filled his eyes as the principal handed him a box filled with hundreds of handwritten letters, each one a thank you from someone whose life he had touched. One letter read, "Your notes got me through my first year of teaching." Another said, "When my dad died, your words reminded me to keep going." Daniel never gave a speech that day. He just smiled, nodded, and said softly, "I just wanted people to feel seen." And isn't that what kindness really is? The simple act of seeing someone and reminding them that they matter. Daniel never knew who had discovered that it was him leaving those daily acts of kindness, and it didn't matter. What mattered was that someone was deeply impacted by the need that Daniel saw and addressed the best way he knew how, by leaving those tiny reminders. Daniel's story proves that one quiet voice can echo louder than 1,000 shouts. That's the beauty of kindness. It doesn't just stop with you. It multiplies, it moves, and it changes lives, sometimes without you ever realizing it. You know, it's hard to live kindness every day. There are days when we let the frustrations of the world, our emotions, and busy schedules become so important that we forget others are experiencing the same issues, same emotions, and same priorities. One thing that really upsets me is when I hold the door open for someone and they do not even bother to acknowledge my act of kindness. Not even with a smile or a gesture, or especially with a thank you. I have to admit, when this has happened in the past, I've said in the most sarcastic tone I could find at the moment, "You're welcome." I wish I could remind myself in that moment that maybe this person's mind was so focused on something else, like their sick child, so they didn't even realize I was holding the door for them. Or maybe my act of kindness, although seemingly unnoticed by the receiver, was in fact noticed by someone else, and it inspired them to help someone else that day. Like I said from the beginning, I don't have it all figured out, and I am still very much a work in progress. Can you believe how quickly this year has gone by? It feels like we just blinked and the moments flew past. January goals turned into November reflections. Time has a way of slipping through our fingers, but when we look back, It's not the deadlines or the chaos we remember most. It's the moments of kindness. It's the neighbor who brought soup when you were sick, the stranger who held the door when your hands were full, the friend who checked in just to say, "Hey, I'm proud of you." It's the teacher who stayed late to help, and the coworker who listened without judgment, or the person who smiled at you on a day when you felt invisible. Those little moments, those simple human gestures are what make a fast year feel full, because kindness slows time. It turns ordinary days into memories. So as this year winds down, take a moment to notice how kindness showed up in your life and how you showed it to others. Because in a world that moves this quickly, kindness is the one thing that makes us pause, breathe, and remember what really matters. As we come to a close today, I want to leave you with this thought. Kindness isn't weakness, it's courage. It's the courage to care in a world that sometimes forgets how. This World Kindness Day, be the reason someone believes in good again. You never know what someone is carrying, and your small gesture might be the light they need. So let's keep the ripple going. Let's make kindness not just a day on the calendar, but a way of life. So until next time, be kind, stay compassionate, take care of yourself and of one another, and just remember, kindness and acceptance begin with you. The Acceptance Project is a production of Bridging Success, LLC. To learn more about the podcast and our work, please visit bridgingsuccess.com. This podcast and its content are for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. I'm Dr. Bryan Gross, but I'm not a licensed therapist. The topics and opinions shared by me and any guests are our own and should not replace professional or medical advice. If you are seeking mental health support, medical guidance, or help with personal matters, please reach out to a licensed professional who can provide the individual support you need.